Okay, part 4B. I have found this 2007 FRQ to be the most challenging of the 4 different FRQs we've worked on so far. Shouldn't worry about it when it's harder or more challenging. The test is always curved a little bit as far as how they reward the 3, 4, and 5 scores. So if it's harder for you, it's going to be harder for everyone. Just do what you can. Just keep learning all you can from each practice test. Don't worry about your score. Just learn all you can, keep working to get better and better. You can tell when you're getting better, even if your points don't always show that you're getting better, because the problems can get harder or different. We just have to keep practicing enough of them so that you get familiar with all the different ways they have typically asked questions, and then you'll be very well prepared. So this one says, find the value of A for which x of t satisfies this equation. So right away, I don't really know what to do other than I don't really want to pay attention to A. But to satisfy this equation, I've got to know what x double prime is and x prime is. So I'm pretty good because I already found x prime in part A. So I'm going to go find x double prime. I have found through experience that it's easier to take the derivative before I factor. So I'm going to use this. It means I have to use the product rule twice. So I take the second. Now in part A, I already figured out that the derivative of this, there's a -1 there, multiplied by e to the negative t, multiplied by the derivative of negative t, which is also -1. Let's move this out of the way because this is going to be quite a bit of work. So then plus negative e to the negative t. The derivative of the sine is the cosine. Plus, right here, now we use the product rule again for the second term. So that's going to be cosine multiplied by the derivative of this, which we know to be plus. Now because this was plus, I didn't need a parenthesis here. With 2 terms here, if this had been minus, I would have to have the parenthesis. So then it's going to be now it's going to be e to the negative t. And the derivative of the cosine is -1 times the sine. A little bit out of room here, so this would be -1 multiplied by the sine. So x double prime now on the AP test, algebraic simplification is never required. So finding this as written, I would have room on my paper to put this where it belongs. That's worth 2 points. So let's change the color there. So this line is worth 2 points. Supposed to figure out when I take this times a plus x prime plus x itself, I'm supposed to get 0. That means I want to put a whole bunch of things together here. One thing that helps is right here, this negative times this negative will make this positive. Added to this will be 0. So these two will add together to be 0. So x double prime is going to be just this piece, and these are the same. So there's now 2 of them. So I have -2, e to the negative t, cosine of t. So now I can put together this big long formula they talk about. So I can write a multiplied by this. Let's back up. So that would be negative 2a. This is a good example of a problem where I really don't know how to solve the problem. I just keep working away. Hopefully that things will just work out. Okay, I now need to write in x prime, which is this. I like writing negative 1. It prevents mistakes. You're practicing on these practice tests, just getting used to, just keep working. Don't worry about whether it makes sense or not. I mean, just don't violate any rules. But so now I plug in x of t. There's supposed to be some value for a, which will make that equal 0. So once again, these two add to make 0 already. So all that's left is negative 2a, e to the negative t, cosine of t, plus e to the negative t, cosine of t, should equal 0. Very much like part A, I need to factor. But if I have this line on my paper where I substituted everything in, they'll give me one more point. This part B is worth 4 total points. 2 points for finding x double prime. 1 point for simply plugging into this equation x double prime and x prime. And now we're going for the fourth and final point by finding the value of a. So just like in part A, we need to factor. So we have what we factor out is the cosine and e to the negative t. So let's fix that. So we take out e to the negative t and cosine of t. And I'll have left negative 2a plus 1, because both factors came out. Okay, this happens all the time on the AP test as well. You have 1, 2, 3 factors multiplying, the result is 0. We're supposed to find the value of a that makes this a true statement. So negative 2a plus 1 would have to equal 0. You can solve it or just look at it. If a is equal to 1/2, or I guess we could, I don't know, we'll do the algebra. You could stop right here. That's good enough. That's the fourth and final point for this particular FRQ.